It is a year since the general election, but Theresa May will not be celebrating. The Prime Minister began June 8, 2017, full of confidence.
A Conservative Party that's always believed in lower taxes, or a Labour Party with a manifesto that we know will mean higher taxes for all and ordinary working people paying the price.
She ended it in tears, having lost her majority, her authority, and, for a few fevered hours, very nearly her grip on power.
The Conservative Party has won the most seats and probably the most votes.
The Conservatives are on 314. That is down from the 331 David Cameron had at the last election.
In the last year, it has at times seemed questionable whether Theresa May would survive 24 hours, let alone another 12 months. That she has is down to a combination of her own tenacity and because none of her potential challengers could afford to take her on. In the immediate aftermath of the election, Mrs May's closest advisers, Fiona Hill and Nick Timothy, were made to walk the plank as the price for the Cabinet's continued loyalty. Next, Parliament was bought off, literally, with £1 billion bung for the Democratic Unionist Party, giving Mrs May a working majority. But while the wheels of high politics were turning, the PM suffered the nadir of her premiership, so distracted by her own troubles that she lost her humanity over the appalling loss of life at Grenfell Tower.
The support on the ground for families in the initial hours was not good enough. That was a failure of the state, local and national, to help people when they needed it most. As Prime Minister, I apologise for that failure.
Now was the most dangerous time, when survival to the summer seemed unlikely, but survive she did. And when Mrs May returned refreshed in the autumn, it was with a clear plan to focus on Brexit and regain her grip with a storming party conference.
Policy of neutrality that was shared around.
Both failed spectacularly. Her troublesome Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, torpedoed her Florence speech on Britain's relationship with the EU with a wildly off message opus in the Telegraph. May's leadership continues to be bedevilled by Brexit, with both government and Parliament hopelessly divided. Far from a steady ship, she has been leaking cabinet ministers at an eye-watering rate of one every 6 weeks, from Damien Green's pawn to Priti Patel's freelance foreign policy.
I know it's difficult, I know it's frustrating, I know it's disappointing for people, and I apologise.
Mrs May ends the year with the NHS in crisis, facing an abortion showdown with the DUP, engulfed in a crime wave, and with the bureaucratic Rubik's Cube that is Brexit threatening to topple her at any moment.
Mr Speaker, when it comes to Brexit, this government has delivered more delays and more cancellations than Northern Rail.
But the fact remains, a year after being written off, Theresa May is still Prime Minister. Who would bet against her this time next year?
Relax, there's a long way to go. Prime Minister.